Well, let's take a look at what is happening in the markets, and we start off with the local bourse as we always do. The JSE has seen some losses today, as we are seeing there a board full of red. Of course, quite a number of economic data points that the local investors were digesting, including mining output for February, which came in with growth of 9.9% year on year. Of course, we also did have manufacturing production coming out higher than what markets had anticipated there, with positive momentum of a rise of 4.1% in February year on year. Of course, the all share seeming to not get optimism from those data points, with the all share declining more than 0.25%. We are seeing the industrial 25, actually those indexes kind of slumping around the same margin. So the industrial 25, they're leading the losses that we are seeing. They're declining 0.38%, but we also are seeing the resources 10 complex there with the decline of a similar margin, and the financial 15, they're down almost 0.33%. Let's take a look at what is happening in the US markets. Of course, investors, they're digesting still the U.S. inflation print for March that came out hotter than expected, rising with a rise there of 3.5% year on year. Of course, also the Fed minutes from its last meeting. Quite interesting that now we are having some market participants shifting their expectations for interest rate cuts from June to September. Quite a mixed picture that we are seeing there in those markets, with the tech-heavy Nasdaq being the only bourse in the green, with a gain of almost 0.4%. The Dow carrying most of the declines that we are seeing. They're shedding more than 0.5%, and the S&P 500 declining by 0.1%. Let's take a look at what is happening in Europe and across the Atlantic. Investors there digesting the latest interest rate decision from the European Central Bank, where it held rates steady. Of course, over there, we do have investors penciling in a rate cut around June from the ECB. But a sea of red over there, nonetheless. FTSE 100 declining more than 0.5%. The CAC 40 there with a loss of almost 0.4%, and the DAX slumping almost 0.9%. Let's take a look at what is happening on the currency scene, and we start off with what is happening with the rand against some of the other currencies, the major currencies there. Relatively flat at around 18 rand 78 against the US dollar, against the pound at 23 rand 50 there with some strength, and against the euro also coming in with some strength at 20 rand 10 cents. Let's take a look at what is happening with the other currency pairs, and we are seeing the euro dollar there standing at 1.07, pound dollar at 1.25, and quite some weakness on the yen against the US dollar, just over 153 against that currency.